Okay, so our app is almost done, but one annoying problem that we have is for example, if I add a board, so let's say test board 2, click on submit, and let's add an item here, so let's say test item. Let's set the priority to high and click on submit. We have this item added, and we can also sort our items, but the problem is if we refresh, as you can see, that board and the items are gone, so we don't want that. So in this video I want to use local storage to save our items array. So let's see how we can do that. So first I'm going to go to our home page. So here is our home.view, and here I want to talk about something called watchers. So what are watchers? So watchers are basically functions that will run whenever something changes. So for example, if our board's array changes, the watcher function should run. So let's see how we can do that. First we have to create a watchers object. So we are going to say watch equals to the object, and here we want to say what data to watch. So for example, we want to watch for the boards array. So whenever the boards array changes, we want to run a function. So we simply have to say boards, and we have to make it a function. So it will be a method like this. So here for now let's just say console.log. Actually let's do a alert. So let's say alert, and we can say boards change. So save it. So now if you were to say something like add board, and here let's say test board 2, as you can see, if we click on submit, it says board change. So our boards array was changed. If we click on delete, again our boards array was changed. Okay, so let's implement local storage here. So we can say local storage.set item, and let's say the key should be boards, and we're simply going to say json.stringify, and we're going to say this.boards like so. So if we now save it and then click on add board, so for example test board 2, submit, and if we inspect and click on local storage.get item, so local storage.get item, and we want to get the item that has a key of boards, and enter. And as you can see, we have an array that has one object with the title of test board, another with the title of test board 2 like so. So now in our mounted method, so mounted runs whenever our component is mounted on our page. We're gonna check if we already had some boards in our local storage. So we're going to say let temp, let's call it the temporary variable temp, equals to local storage.get item. So we're going to say local storage.get item boards, and we're going to check if temp. So if we had some items in our local storage, we're going to say this.boards equals to json.parse, and we're going to use our temp or the objects that we had in our local storage. So if we now save it and click on refresh, as you can see, our board was not deleted. So if we had another board, so let's say test board 3, click on submit. As you can see, we have this test board 3, but if we now refresh, the test board 3 stays. Again, let's click on inspect. Okay, let me open up my console. So let's say show console drawer here. So show console drawer, and again in our watcher, let's click on let's add a console log here also. So let's say console.log. So console.log boards changed. Save it, and now if we click on add board, so let's say test board 4, click on submit, it says boards changed. If we delete it, it says boards changed. But if we add an item, so for example test item 1, set the priority to low for example, and click on submit, it didn't say board change. That is because we are not directly mutating our array. Instead we're adding an item to the nested array, so the watcher is not triggered. We manually have to execute these lines as in that function also. So let's do that. So simply copy this, we can paste this in our listeners. So we can paste it here, and finally paste it here. So Ctrl V, and now if we save it, and now if you were to add an item to our board, so for example let's say test item, let's set the priority to medium, click on submit. Here is our test item. If we refresh, as you can see, the test item is not going away, so it is being saved. If we delete it, now it is deleted. If you click on refresh, as you can see, the item does not come back. So this is working. But another problem that we have is if we try to reorder them. So let's say we sort them like so. So now the medium is on the bottom and the low is on the high and the high is on the middle. But if we refresh, as you can see, they are reorganized, but we don't want that. So whenever they are sorted, we're going to save the changes in our local storage as well. So let's see how we can do that. So in our sortable JS, let's try to scroll down. So here in the events, as you can see, we have an event called sort that will be executed whenever we try to sort our items. So let's listen to that event. So in our draggable component, we are going to listen for an event called add sort. So we're going to say add sort. Let's say we're going to listen for a method called handle sort. So handle sort, like so. Copy this, Control C. Let's go to our methods object here, and let's have another method called handle sort. For now, let's just say alert. So alert sorted, save it, and now let's go to our app and refresh. And now, as you can see, if I try to sort our items, it says alert sorted. So inside this function, what we can do is emit an event. So let's say event buzz.emit, and we're going to emit an event called board sorted. So let's change this to board sorted. So let's say board sorted, like so. So let's copy this, Control C. Let's go and save it. Let's go to our home page. So again, we're going to listen for another event. So we're going to say event buzz.on. So event buzz.on, and this time we're going to listen for a board sorted. So paste it, and then we're going to run this function. So function, inside this function we're simply going to say local storage.set item boards to json.stringify, and our boards, pass our boards here. Okay, it looks like we have some error. Let's see what is that. Okay, and this has to be an arrow function, otherwise it will create a different context. So it should be arrow function, like so. Save it. And now let's try to put this one with the priority of low to the bottom. So like so, and click on refresh. Okay, it looks like something is going wrong. That is because by default we already have some objects populated. So let's say by default our array will be an empty array, and let's clear our local storage. So let's inspect and click on local and type local storage.clear. So clear out our local storage and click on refresh. So now we don't have any boards here. So let's start from scratch. And let's try to refresh. So as you can see, our boards are still here and our items are still here. So local storage is working fine. Let's try to sort it, like so, and click on refresh. As you can see, our sorted items also stays in the position. So now we can add boards, add items, delete boards, and we can sort our items. So our app is pretty much done. So in the next video we'll see how we can add an error page, and then we'll see how we can deploy our apps. So I'll see you in the next video.